Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we try to make sense of the filings that make the business world tick. And sometimes, oh boy, do they tick. This report from International Land Alliance Incorporated is a prime example of things changing quite dramatically behind the scenes. Today we're diving into a report that basically signals a significant change in how this company's stock will be handled. It is a bit like a company giving its stock a haircut to make it look more presentable, or perhaps to make it more accessible to a different type of investor. Stick around because we'll unpack what this means for shareholders and the company's future. Before we jump in, make sure you are subscribed to Corporate Decoder. We break down these complex financial documents so you don't have to. And if you want to connect with other financially savvy folks and get real-time insights, join our Discord community. The link is in the description below. So, what is the big deal? International Land Alliance Incorporated, a company operating in the real estate or land development space, as their name suggests, has undergone a major change. The report we're looking at is dated the 30th of January 2026, and it details a significant event that happened on that day and became effective shortly after. The company, whose full name is International Land Alliance Incorporated, filed this report to update everyone about a fundamental change they've made to their common stock. This isn't just a minor tweak, it is a game changer for how shares are counted and traded. This company is incorporated in Wyoming, and they have the standard commission file number and IRS employer identification number that you'd expect for a business of its kind. Their principal executive offices are located in San Diego, California. Now, there are a few boxes they could have checked here relating to different types of communications under securities laws, but the main event is what follows. Interestingly, it seems that at the time of this filing, there were no securities registered under a specific section of the Act, indicating they might be trading on over-the-counter markets or have specific listing arrangements. They also have the option to check if they are an emerging growth company, and this box is not checked, meaning they are not electing to be treated as such. They also have not elected to use the extended transition period for complying with new or revised financial accounting standards, which tells us they are likely keeping up with current accruals. The first substantive item we see here is about a material modification to the rights of security holders. This is a fancy way of saying they are changing something fundamental for people who own their stock. The details of this modification are being incorporated from another section of the report, which is a common practice to keep things concise. This section is where the real action is. It talks about amendments to their official company documents, specifically their amended and restated certificate of incorporation. This is like the company's constitution. So, back on the 4th of November of 2025, the shareholders of International Land Alliance Incorporated voted to approve a reverse stock split. Now, a reverse stock split sounds a bit scary, but it is essentially the opposite of a regular stock split. Instead of dividing shares, they are combining them. The shareholders gave the board the power to decide the exact ratio anywhere from 1 for 25 up to 1 for 75. Fast forward to the 30th of January 2026, and the company got the official go ahead from the Secretary of State in Wyoming. They decided on a 1 for 50 reverse stock split. This means for every 50 shares you owned before, you now have just one share. This change officially became effective on the 4th of February 2026. The company's stock started trading on the OTCQB market, which is typically for smaller companies on this new basis. They even got a new CUSIC number, which is like a social security number for stocks, and their trading symbol changed to a LOLD for a limited time of 20 days. This is where the numbers get really interesting. Before the split, International Land Alliance Incorporated had a whopping 133,315,568 shares outstanding. After the 1 for 50 split, that number dramatically dropped to about 266311 shares. Imagine owning a giant pizza cut into 133 million tiny slices. And then suddenly those slices are combined into only about 2.6 million much bigger slices. The value of your total pizza hasn't changed, but the number of pieces you have is far fewer. It is important to note what did not change. The par value of the stock, which is a nominal value assigned to shares, remained the same. Also, shareholder voting rights and other rights attached to the common stock were not altered. They also made sure to mention that the split did not impact the total value of the company, just the number of shares representing that value. Now, here is a key detail for shareholders. No fractional shares are being issued. If you held a number of shares that was not perfectly divisible by 50, you won't get a tiny fraction of a share. Instead, you'll receive a cash payment for that fractional part. This cash payment is based on the average closing price of the stock around the time of the split, and importantly, it will not accrue any interest. The company's transfer agent, Dynamic Stock Transfer Incorporated, is handling the process. They are issuing all the new shares in a paperless format, which is called book entry form. This is a modern way of holding shares electronically rather than through physical certificates if you hold your shares in what is called street name, meaning through your broker. Your broker will provide you with instructions on how to handle this change. This part is crucial for anyone who owns stock options or warrants in the company. The exercise price of these options and warrants, as well as the number of shares they allow you to buy, have been adjusted proportionally to reflect a reverse split. This ensures that the economic value of these awards is maintained. Similarly, the total number of shares the company can issue under its incentive plans has been reduced proportionally to match the new share count. The filing mentions that a copy of the certificate of amendment is attached as an exhibit. This is the actual legal document detailing the whole thing, filed with the state of Wyoming on the 9th of January 2026. This section simply refers back to the stock split that was approved by the shareholders. Reiterating that information is already covered in item 5.03. It is a formal nod to the fact that shareholder approval was obtained for this significant action. Under other events, the company notes that on the 4th of February 2026, the exact day the reverse split became effective, they issued a press release about these matters. This press release is attached as an exhibit to this report, which is standard practice to communicate important news to the public simultaneously through official filings and press announcements. Finally, this section lists the exhibits attached to the report. This includes Exhibit 3.1, which is the Certificate of Amendment to the company's incorporation documents. Then there is Exhibit 99.1. The press release dated the 4th of February 2026, announcing the reverse stock split. And Exhibit 104, the cover page interactive data file, which is standard for all SEC filings nowadays. It essentially contains structured data that can be read by computers. There is also a note here indicating that some schedules have been omitted, but the company will provide them to the SEC if requested. This is a fairly common regulatory disclosure. And here come the signatures, attesting to the accuracy of the report. This report is signed by Frank Ingrande, the Chief Executive Officer of International Land Alliance Incorporated. The report is officially dated the 4th of February 2026, the same day the reverse stock split became effective and the stock started trading on the new basis. So, what does this all mean? A reverse stock split is often used by companies whose stock price has fallen very low, sometimes below $1, to boost the per share price. This can make the stock appear more substantial and might help it meet listing requirements for major exchanges. Although in this case they are still on the OTCQB, for shareholders, a reverse split doesn't magically increase the value of their investment, but it does reduce the number of shares they hold if the company's fundamental value doesn't improve. Owning one share worth $50 is the same as owning 50 shares worth $1. The big question is, why did they do this and will it help them turn things around? Often, a reverse split is a precursor to trying to attract new investors or to improve the company's image. However, it doesn't address any underlying business issues. International Land Alliance Incorporated's move suggests they are trying to reset their stock's appearance and possibly prepare for future strategic actions. The real test will be whether the company can generate growth and profitability following this adjustment. Without a solid business strategy and execution, the reverse split is just a cosmetic change. Alright, that is our breakdown of International Land Alliance Incorporated's latest filing. What is your take on this reverse stock split and what it might signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives into the corporate world. Don't forget to check out our Discord community in the description for more discussions and insights. Thanks for watching. See you next time.